If you want the healthiest skin, try oil cleansing. Trust me on this. I used to think it would break me out, but oil attracts oil and nothing takes off makeup and impurities like an oil cleanser does. This one's my favorite because it starts as a gel, so it's not thick and greasy, and it also doesn't burn my eyes, and I wear a lot of eyeliner, so that's a must-have. And if I don't have an oil cleanser on me, I'm simply not taking off my makeup because everything else strips my skin barrier and it's not worth it. If you want to have really nice hair but have it be super low maintenance and remain healthy, I'm going to show you how I get mine colored because I get it done once or twice a year. So I start off with my hair like this. I still like the color, it just needs refreshing. So I asked for a buttery blonde or a honey blonde. So Chris, my stylist, will do a ton of baby highlights and these are going to melt down from my hair. I asked for them not right at the root because I want to be able to grow my hair out and not come back. And then for toner, this is my favorite part. The Redken Shades EQ Bonder Inside glosses are a dream. I use the shade Honey Gold, but I just choose any of their warm shades because I find cool shades on my hair look very ashy and make me look kind of sick. And these toners are also very healthy for your hair and I get very relaxed, so Chris usually has to shake me back awake and then we just rinse and dry, and that's what my hair is looking like, and it's going to grow so seamlessly because the highlights aren't right at the root, and I just love it so much. This is what I eat in a day as someone with a sensitive stomach because a lot of foods try to hurt me. So I've been starting off the day with beets recently. I really love how they taste, but they're good for hormone balancing and they also give me a boost of energy and they taste so good. And I reserve the water that I boil them in to make a hibiscus beet lemonade. And I know it sounds gross, but I swear it doesn't taste like beets. It's just so sweet. It kind of tastes like pomegranate juice. And then for lunch, I had this ginger soy salmon over carrots and cucumber, and it was so good. And for dinner, I made these little mushroom tacos that were teriyaki flavored. And I probably had 20 because they were very small. And then after dinner, I had this boba popsicle. I'd never tried one before and I really wanted to. And since I ate good the rest of the day, it didn't hurt my stomach at all. If you love the taste of cold pressed juice but don't have a juicer, I'm going to show you how to make hibiscus beet lemonade at home without even a blender. It's so easy and it tastes like pomegranate juice. It's so good. So start by cutting up a bunch of beets and then add that to some water. The less water you use, the stronger your juice will taste. Boil them with a lid on for about 20 minutes and then pour that hot beet water over some hibiscus petals and let it steep for as long as you like. And then add some lemon juice, some stevia, stir it all up, and you can pour it over ice and keep the rest in your fridge, and it tastes so rich and flavorful and has really good nutrients too, and it's just the easiest thing to make. If you love margarita pizza, you've got to try this margarita pizza toast. It's so easy to make and it tastes very similar. So to start off, I cut a thick slice of sourdough bread. I really like the way sourdough tastes in this recipe, and then I cover it in basil pesto and a thick layer of mozzarella cheese. Kind of the thicker the cheese, the better it tastes in my opinion. And then I add some thinly sliced tomatoes. I use heirloom because they're pretty, and then put some cracked pepper, some Italian seasoning with oregano so it tastes like there's pizza sauce on there, a little bit of flake sea salt, cook it in a pan, and then sprinkle with fresh basil and you're done. Because I love toast, I asked some people for some suggestions on combos, and some of them that got suggested, I was like, I'm not sure this is a joke, but they did not disappoint. So the first one, grab your bread, I chose sourdough, then cover it in basil pesto. Then you're gonna take some brie cheese. I choose a very soft kind because they melt easier and they taste so much better in my opinion. And then you cover it in blackberries and drizzle in honey. And I was like, this is gonna be funky, but you melt it all down, and I swear, this tastes extraordinary. And the blackberries melt into the cheese and just, If you have a sensitive stomach, these zucchini egg muffins are going to be your new favorite breakfast. They taste like little quiches and they have feta and they're so good. So first grate up a medium zucchini, and this is going to have so much juice in it, so just squeeze that out and then put it on a clean towel and twist it to squeeze out that excess juice again. And then you're going to crack, I used about 6 or 7 eggs for this recipe, and that filled a little more than one full muffin tin. And I add a little splash of milk, some salt, quite a bit of pepper, and a little garlic powder, lots of onion powder because I'm obsessed with onion powder in eggs, and a little tiny bit of smoked paprika, and then I added in some chopped up scallions, whisked all that up into my eggs, then added in my zucchini, added in some crumbled up goat feta. I also add in oregano and garlic herb seasoning, and then mix it up, add it to a greased muffin tin, and bake for 25 minutes at 350, and these are addictive. If you already love banana bread, you've got to try this recipe, because I thought all banana bread tasted the same until I tried this. I found it on the Almond Breeze website. I don't even know how that came up for me, but add 3/4 of a cup of mashed bananas. I get my bananas not too ripe because I don't want it to taste too banana-y. Then add 1/2 cup of sugar. I use coconut sugar because it tastes caramelly. Then about 3 tablespoons of coconut oil that I melted on the stove, and 1/4 cup of almond milk. And then I add in a teaspoon of almond extract and a teaspoon of vanilla. I kind of changed the recipe a bit, but trust me, it tastes good. Then you add in a large egg and whisk that all up. And for the dry ingredients, you're going to use 3/4 a cup of normal flour, then 3/4 of a cup of almond flour. You can get this at Costco. And 3/4 teaspoon of baking powder, 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Whisk that all up, add it into your banana mix. I add a bunch of chocolate chips, then pour it into a baking dish. This did not go well for me. I cover it in walnuts and bake it at 350 for about 40 minutes, and it's so good. In the fall, I only want to eat things that make me feel like I live in a cottage, and stuffed apples are the top tier cottage food, I believe. I don't know. First, you get some apples. A squirrel crawls all over mine, and I still don't wash them, but I probably should. Then you cut the tops off of those, and you just carve little bowls out of them. You can either use a knife or like a melon ball or whatever you feel, and just leave like the bottom, just make a little bowl. Then I cut up 1/4 cup of pecans. I don't know how to say that. And add 1/4 cup of rolled oats, a teaspoon of cinnamon, a little pinch of salt, a little pinch of nutmeg. The nutmeg makes a difference. Then I add a couple spoonfuls of coconut oil. You can use butter. And then for sweetener, I use a mixture of both maple syrup and just drizzle on some honey. It doesn't have to be a lot of sweetener. It'll be sweet either way. You mix it up, and you can add a bit more dry ingredients if you want to. Then you stuff your little apple bowls, and you're going to cook them in the oven at 350 for 30 minutes or until they're like a little crunchy, but they're very aromatic, you know? They're amazing. They taste so good. If you're not a good cook but want people to think you are, make them carbonara. It is so deceivingly good because it looks really bland when I show it to you here, but I swear it tastes amazing. So for the sauce, add a couple eggs, about 1/2 cup of whipping cream, or you can use like 1/4 cup, whatever you like. I like extra saucy. Add a bunch of Parmesan and some red pepper flakes, a little bit of fresh parsley, and some salt. Whisk that all up, and then saute up some sweet onions and bacon. The bacon does make it really good. Add some al dente pasta, and then pour your sauce on top. Mix it all up while it's still warm, and it is just creamy and sharp from the cheese and fresh from the parsley. It's amazing.
When I die, I'm going to come back as one of these.
Did you get enough love, my little dove? Why do you cry? And I'm sorry I left, but it was for the best, though it never felt right. My little Versailles.
This is how I style my hair to look like I have a blow. If you also have a sensitive stomach, these are the things I eat in a day that make me feel really good. So I started off the morning with a ginger turmeric tea with lemon juice and stevia in it to make it sweet. And I always like to have tea in a really sunny spot of my house in the morning because it just relaxes me so much. And then for breakfast, I made these zucchini feta cheese egg quiche things, and they were so good. I had, I think, 6 of them. And then for lunch, I had this little breakfast plate that had green apple that I dipped in this plain yogurt that was also sweetened with stevia, and some cinnamon raisin toast. And then I had this amazing kale salad for dinner and this homemade coconut milk fudgesicle thing, and I gave Nova the tiniest little taste just to make her happy, but she'll be fine. And that was really, really good, and it had cinnamon in it. And then before bed, I had some cauliflower with Parmesan and salt and pepper on it, and that was also really, really good. This is what I eat in a day as someone with a sensitive stomach, but also not trying to limit every food category there is, because I can never do that. I started off the day with a turmeric latte. I really like that these are anti-inflammatory and they just make me feel very relaxed, so I probably should have ended the day with it. And then I had an early lunch of mushroom soup. It's made with a little bit of wine and caramelized onions, and it's just the most comforting soup ever. And for dinner, my boyfriend made this Italian seasoned chicken that was so juicy, and we had it with broiled eggplant, cherry tomatoes, and thyme sweet potatoes. And then before bed, I had some plain yogurt sweetened with stevia and some of this new maple crunch granola I wanted to try that didn't have too much sugar in it, so I was happy about that. And then right before sleeping, I had skullcap tea with some chaga for its anti-inflammatory benefits, and that was it. Recipes for people with sensitive stomachs can be so hard to find, but this gut healing soup is so easy to digest and it tastes amazing too. So I start off with a Napa cabbage. These are a lot easier to digest than a normal cabbage. Add that to a pot along with some carrot and some yellow onion sliced if you have it. And then add on a little bit of olive oil and a little bit of sesame oil and a bit of garlic. Fresh is better, but powdered also works, and some cracked pepper. And then saute that and cover it in water. And here I'll add some caraway seeds, a bit of beef broth, and a bit of miso. Miso is great for the probiotics, some chives for extra flavor, and some organic turkey meatballs for the protein, and finish off with rice noodles, and you're done. And it's got so many good properties. Since it is oyster mushroom season, you've got to find some and make this roasted mushroom and garlic toast. It's so good, I feel like I could open up a restaurant even though I know I couldn't. So start by slicing up some garlic and cooking it in olive oil. I also add some chives to the oil to make it taste a little oniony but not overpowering, and you just want a very warm, fragrant, spicy oil for your mushrooms to cook in, so they'll end up tasting meaty and not just bland. So I add my little baby oyster mushrooms to that, and I sort of move my little garlic pieces on top of them so they don't burn on the pan. And I just sprinkle that all in sea salt, and then I toast my sourdough bread in some butter. Toasted bread in a pan is so much better than in a toaster, just trust me on that. And then I think my mushrooms are pretty much done when they start getting a little browned. So I spread a little mix of plain yogurt and goat cheese on my bread, put all my mushroom stuff on top of there, and drizzle it in the excess oil that's super salty. And then I top it off with little chive flowers, and it's so good. If you like the taste of cinnamon and sugar, you're gonna love this French toast. It's so fluffy and it tastes like a donut, not even like a breakfast whatsoever, but it's really good. So start by mixing 2 eggs, a 1/4 cup of milk, and a little bit of vanilla, and then cut off the crust of some bread and put some Nutella in the center of it. Make these little sandwiches and then soak it in your egg wash. And then while those are frying in a pan with butter, you just mix up a bit of cinnamon and sugar and shake it around in there. And I was not even a fan of French toast until I saw this recipe, but it just tastes like a fluffy, crispy pastry and has so much flavor.
Strawberries, cherries, and an angel's kiss in spring. My summer wine is really made from all these things.
Que ela mora no meu peito
E eu moro vizinho a ela.
e eu fico desse jeito.
Pensando nos beijos, nos carinhos dela.